Is a transition coach. What does a transition coach even do?
I like that. A transitions coach helps somebody who is going through a transition. What I do is that I help somebody who comes to me saying maybe they lack clarity, or maybe they have this goal that is looking so outrageous because where they are and where that goal is, they seem the chasm is so huge,
Or
and
it's
they
opaque.
feel, or it's
with the
opaque,
word now
yeah.
in town.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they feel like they are going through a transition and they probably do not understand. Some come to me and just talk to me and tell me, this is what's going on, and they ask me, do you think I am going through a transition? And my answer to this is this, that we are going through transitions. All of us, let me take that again, we are all in transition all the time. That's actually what I believe. And I can explain that a little bit. Think about a child. A child is born a baby. That baby feeds. That baby becomes a child, a toddler, starts crawling.
Yes.
They go to school. Then at some point they become an adolescent. Then they become a young adult. All those are transitions. And they may look small to us because now we have gone through that and we feel like we aced it.
Yes.
But for the people that are going through those things, they are huge. Remember a young lady or a young man at adolescent, when they start getting those changes, it affects them and they are shy and they withdraw and they have to deal with that. Come to a person who is leaving high school to join college, it's a transition in itself. Even just going to high school, there's bullying sometimes, there's no bullying sometimes, but just that exchange from a school where you are treated like children to where you're being treated as younger adults.
Yes.
It's a transition, and so on and so forth. So think about that, think about marriage, think about getting kids, all the way to empty nesting, all the way to death. It's a journey of seasons, and we are going through those every day. So we are all in transition.
And I'm sorry to interject, but you mentioned seasons, and that just, you reminded me something. When I picked that from your profile and you talked about our life is like a live TV series, and you said your seasons are called transitions. Now let's get into why you are comparing these transitions as seasons. It might look quite obvious. We could go deeper into why you're even comparing this to a live TV series. So that makes us the main cast here.
Yes. So like I am explaining that life itself, the sequence of life is transitions.
Yes.
Now those are simple transitions that we almost anticipate most of the time. There are other transitions, so life is very complex. Now there are other transitions that we don't quite anticipate that are hidden all through those seasons because, for instance, when you get a job, there are issues that happen at the workplace. There are issues like downsizing, there are issues like promotions, there are issues like transfers, there are issues like being moved to a different country. There are issues like a parent dying, like losing a sibling. So all of those usher somebody into transitions. So when I say that your life is like a live series,
yes,
I want to liken it to something that we talk about all the time, something that we like to do or like to watch. So I'm inviting someone to think of a series that they like or they love. Actually, I want them to think about the one they love.
Yes.
And then I want them to think about the character who stars in that series, who the series is built upon. The main character in your series should be you. Most of the time, it is not. Most of the time, because life is beating us and life is taking away our joy, and we are overwhelmed. And especially this season when we have just gone through COVID, the COVID season, which took a toll on all of us, and then the war in Ukraine brought another issue that affected the price of ugali.
That's true.
Or so we are told. And then an election. So it's been a pretty difficult season for us as Kenyans, for instance. So in those transitions, how can I be the star of my transition? Because yes, they may be national. Okay, in fact, when we begin with the COVID, that's a global transition.
It was global, yes.
So is the war in Ukraine. But the election is national. But a friend of mine who is a mentor to me says that all crises are local. So they may be happening there, but the effect that it has on you is local to you and local to your community. So that's why I'm talking about you can be a star in your own transitions by harnessing your passions, you harness your strengths, you harness your values, and look for the impact that you can create in that season.